apologize for that, but you've been too busy anyway to watch videos because I'm sure you've been training a lot, getting tired, which is what we'd expect. Now you are 4 weeks and one day to your 2018 Ironman Santa Rosa, and welcome back to the DL. This is episode 9. My numbers are right, and it's time to start making decisions, finalizing decisions, planning and fueling and race pacing, which we'll sort of get into next week or the week after, mainly because you need to get through all your training and get it sort of locked in before you make 100% decisions on that. So for today, first off, I want to thank my friend and one of our athletes here local that has come to a lot of my swim stuff and trusting the process. Eric Keith, he stopped in today. He goes, "Hey, where's our videos?" I'm like, busy. We have a camp this weekend, so we're getting that lined up, and we're in good shape for that actually. So take a little bit of time today and get you guys back up to date and hopefully locked back in. And I hope you guys are excited. 4 weeks to go, and right now, man, the weather here the last month has been all over the place. One day it's winter, one day it's summer, one day it's spring. It's crazy. We were 2 days ago, it was 55 or low 50s and just driving rain. And last weekend it was rainy and windy. And today's going to be 70. Tomorrow's going to be in the 70s. And then Sunday again, another front comes through and we're back to 60s and rain. So, man, it is all over the place so far this spring. But it's changing. And in a month from now, you guys are going to be in really good shape by the middle of May. It'll be much different. So I want to start with logistics today. I want to talk about you guys planning your race week. And I think it's really important. I think a lot of people will plan their travel. Hey, we're going to get in the car. We're taking our flights. We're going to get to Santa Rosa. But beyond that, you don't have a lot planned. And I don't think you need to plan every minute of every day, but it's important to do that. So we're going to talk that'll be your logistics key. And I think if you get that dialed in, you're going to be less stressed too come race week. I also want to talk for a training topic, your race fueling and how that comes into play. But also too, want to talk race course just briefly because we've really covered about everything. And small changes that have come between now and race day based on conditions. But other than that, and the last thing is we'll talk about. I'll give you a couple questions that people have had to. One of them relates to sort of training fueling aspects. So first thing. Logistics. I'm sure you've got your travel already sorted out, how you're going to do it, when you're going to do it, especially if you're coming in on a flight, coming in from a longer distance. So I'm sure you have that dialed in. If you're driving in, give yourself time. Give yourself time and allocate time for traffic coming into town, depending on the day, depending on the weather. And it can get dicey. If you're coming in to register on Friday morning, and get yourself here early. You don't want to be chasing your tail the entire day. So if anybody's coming in and driving in around our rush hour, let's say they're flying to San Francisco or Oakland and driving in, if you get in after 1 or 2 o'clock, expect it to be a long haul up to Santa Rosa. Even though it's without traffic, it's an hour. It's not much. Or from SFO, it's an hour and 15. We got traffic in and you're looking at 2 hours. So block that in if you're coming in the afternoon. Just plan on it. Maybe plan to stop and have dinner and do what you need, because just be patient getting here because traffic can be all over the place. So take care of that aspect of it. Be patient with that. Give yourself time as it comes to travel getting here into Sonoma County. For those of you that are lucky that can get a flight into our small airport here in Santa Rosa, no problems. Still have our local traffic, but no problems with that. So you're here. It's race week. Race week officially starts Wednesday on site. I'm sitting here, Echelon Cycle and Multisport. Wait, over here. Yep. And we are, this is my office, but I'm inside Echelon Cycle and Multisport. If you need anything from a gear standpoint, support, tech, whatever it is, or if you want to schedule it ahead of time, these guys are awesome. They're athletes. They know triathletes, and they get it. So super people. And if you need something, and they're 2 blocks away from Courtyard by Marriott, across the street from Hotel La Rose, coffee shops right down the street. Also Vineyard Creek, Hyatt Vineyard Creek, and we are I don't know, 3 blocks. We'll say a half a mile at the most from um, downtown Courthouse Square, where the expo and all your stuff is going on. So um, you get to town. Race week starts on the Wednesday, and you can look at the schedule. The athlete schedule is up, and they'll make some additions and some changes. It always happens based on logistics. So keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on Facebook. Um, do that kind of thing on your Facebook, the official Ironman Facebook page, but also some of our pages here that I load these videos onto. So just be alert and be aware of any changes. So here's my first recommendation. So you're in town, you have your week scaled out. Try to plan, okay, times you're going to go register, times you're going to go to athlete briefings. So I'll be doing your athlete briefings. So come to the athlete briefings. I'll go through them. Obviously, I know all the local logistics stuff, so they're pretty thorough briefings, and we can answer questions for you there if you have more. Plan the briefing. Plan your registration. A lot of people will go to registrations right when they open. So maybe plan later in the day or just time it. A lot of people will come before race briefings, so the lines are a little bit longer. Typically, the busiest days for check-in is going to be Thursday and Thursday morning. So adjust. You can go to a race briefing and not have gone to an athlete check-in. So plan accordingly. Also, things you need to plan is plan your training in. You don't have any. There's no crucial training that you need to get done, but get done. Stay moving and do what you normally have to do to get your short workouts in. Other than maybe running, doing anything from right down around where the expo is not logistically good. Cycling isn't good from here, so do that from your hotel or drive out to somewhere and do that. The other thing to do too is figure out how you're going to get your bike to Lake Sonoma. Are you going to put it on Tri-Bike Transport and let them take it, or will you take it out? One thing I've recommended to a lot of athletes, people, they come in late and then they're chasing it and they get it on Tri-Bike Transport, and that's fine. One thing that I'd advise, if you can, I think it's worth, if you haven't seen the lake and you haven't seen the course, I think it's advisable. You've made a big investment into this race, your time, your energy. Drive to the lake, drop your bike off, or if you go out even 2 days before, whatever it is, and drive the course, as much of the course as you can drive. It's really helpful if you haven't seen it and haven't ridden it to get just an idea. It's dynamic, it twists and it turns, and there's variable amounts, different types of pavement and that kind of thing. So it's worth the investment in time to do that. So plan that all out ahead of time. You don't have to plan your exact meals and things like that, but if you can plan your key things as an athlete, so you know when you're going to register, your race briefing, when and where you're going to drop your gear off, and we'll talk about that at athlete briefings as far as your gear drops at T2, T1, special needs bags, those kind of things. If you have that dialed in, your stress level goes low, and all your people that are around you, your Sherpas, your friends, your family, it's easier for them too, because they know exactly what you're going to do and they're there to support you. So let them know what that process is. And then you can finalize things after you go to race briefing, exactly your plan for race morning and going up to Lake Sonoma. So get that dialed in. It takes a lot of stress out of the equation. The athlete guide is up, or excuse me, the event schedule is up. So you know the timing of those days and how they'll work and what opportunities that you have. All right. So we'll keep working on that and then come to a race briefing and we'll get you completely locked in as you need it. So let's talk the course real quick. Not a lot of changes. There's no course changes that I've been made aware of yet in my communication with our race director. So we're in good shape there. Lake, we're going to swim tomorrow with part of our camp. And we won't do a long swim because it's really not the biggest purpose of the camp itself, as opposed to more of a logistical sighting, see the bike course, et cetera, et cetera. But water temp's still pretty chilly. We just haven't had a lot of warm days. We're going to get sun and warm the next 2 days. Right now, we're still mid 50s to 57, 58. And then I do know like the water that's coming out the bottom of the dam is 51, 52. So it's still pretty chilly. But it'll warm up. We got a month. I'm guessing we'll be low 60s and the water temp won't be an issue. Questions a lot of people have had, and I can wait. I'm going to take this now instead of waiting until the questions part at the end. Is that a lot of people ask about, is there chop? What's the water like? The reality is 90% of this swim course is protected, and it's in sort of inland inside of a little valley. And they changed the course last year to do that. So very protected, and it's going to be calm, other than you're going to get chopped from 1,800 athletes being in the water. If the wind comes up a little early and there is some chop, it will come from the north-northwest. Typically, if it comes from any other direction, it won't be an issue. And that will only affect you sort of coming over your left shoulder as you start the swim, which probably won't be. It'll probably be flat that early. And if you start lap 2, it'll be the same thing, because the way that it'll blow down the valley of where the lake sits in down there. But other than that, that should be a somewhat non-effective issue of your swim course. It's a pretty mellow swim as far as that goes. Good sighting points, et cetera, with the bridge, and do that. And when you go up to drop all your gear off, and you go up to look at that, take a look at those sites, walk down to the start, look at it from the top of the bridge, you'll be able to see it. Other than that, the bike course, you've seen it. People are worried about it, and I've said it over and over and over again. You're getting fit, and you've gotten fit. If you've made the investment to get the right equipment and have the right gearing on your bike, it doesn't matter how long a chalk hill or a Dutcher Creek or whatever it is, or how steep. If you have your fitness and you have the gearing, you can stay with whatever band of power or heart rate or perceived exertion you need to do, because you have those two things, fitness and gearing, and the rest of it doesn't matter. It's what we call in our world flattening the course by having fitness and having the right gearing on your bike. As far as road conditions, and I'm guessing there'll be some fixes, but just some heads up right now in terms of what's going on out there. Willowside Road is still bad. It's 0.9 miles, and it's a bad road. Pick your head up. Be careful. There's a couple big potholes as you turn immediately onto Willowside, go down a little hill. Just be aware of it. People that are doing the 70.3 are going to be lucky. Right now, it's on a schedule to be paved in June. So you guys will come back next year, and you'll have nice new pavement on Willowside. But for now, and they'll get some of those potholes filled. Other than that, the roads that we talked about before, 128, Highway 128, is a little hit and miss. It's smooth. Some of it's a little rough. It's the way that it is. That's a state maintained road, so that none of that has changed. And all the other roads are very similar. Talked about Laughlin Road in one of the earlier episodes. Not the first part of Laughlin, but it's when you take a right-hand turn at the corner of Laughlin and North Laughlin, that becomes narrow and sort of bumpy. So same thing there. Be patient, and just you get through that. And we'll talk about those things at the race briefings as well. So bike course, right now everything's status quo. And again, overall, it's the bike course is pretty good. Pavement is pretty good as far as Sonoma County standards go. And the run course, it's on the trail most of it, so it's pretty straightforward, mostly flat, and you know all about that. So let's move on. Let's talk training. I'm going to talk training, and the thing I want to talk about now, and I said we'd talk about it as we got closer, was your race fueling. And part of that race fueling, you should be to the point now that you know how many carbohydrate calories you're going to take an hour, not calories per hour, carbohydrate calories an hour. Protein and fat aren't going to provide, quote, energy for you during the race. Those things might provide some satiety and help you feel a little more satisfied, but they also digest slower. So you should have that dialed in. How many carbohydrate calories an hour? 200, 250, 300, 350, whatever it is that you know you can tolerate. And in whatever form you've been training in, whatever flavors, whatever products that you have felt comfortable with. And then, so what you want to do, the other thing too is the timing of it. Be consistent with it. Every 15, 20, 25 minutes, whatever the timing is, be consistent with it. If you're 200 carbohydrate calories an hour, you go 100 every 30 minutes. If you're 300 carbohydrate calories an hour, it's 100 calories every 20 minutes. And it's really easy to see that on your race clock, on your bike computer, whatever it is. So you know what you're going to take, and now you know when you're going to take it, or you've hopefully gotten to that point. You got a little bit of time left you can do. The other thing too is where, so the timing of it. Are you going to carry all of it, or we're going to talk here at questions part of special needs. And I advise for people that are using a lot of their own stuff, to use special needs. It's a great service that Ironman provides, that the races provide that, so you can use that. So as far as your fuel and your what and your timing, so your when, you still have some. Essentially we're 4 weeks out this weekend. Probably have some longer training. 3 weeks out is really big training for a lot of people, and even 2 weeks out is sizable training for a lot of people. So you have 3 weekends or series of workouts or sessions that you can get that dialed in. And what I recommend, if you're not completely dialed in yet, is finalize your what is your product, your when, your timing of your product, and now put it to the test. Get a couple more rides in if you're not sure, and make sure you're doing rides with limited stops, meaning no big stops that you're stopped for 5 or 10 minutes where your heart rate settles and you relax and you get comfortable. Yeah, I know you have to stop and go to the bathroom, and you'll have to stop and refill bottles at some point. But if you can do, let's say you're doing a long ride, let's just say it's 6 hours. It's a long ride. Stop every 2 hours. Maybe in between you have to go to the bathroom. It doesn't matter. So stop for 2 hours for 5 minutes. Top off bottles. 2 hours later, stop. 2 hours later, stop. What that does is you constantly have a little higher heart rate, and you're doing your sessions similar to race efforts, and you can train your body a little bit more on digesting fuel while you're moving, and you'll start to get an idea as that workout goes how stressed your body gets and how it handles the fuel you want to put in it when you get stressed. So get it through its final tests. Same thing with your long runs, your runs off the bike. And here's what I'd say: you probably have a couple workouts left where you have a long bike followed by a transition run. Is don't wait to start fueling an hour into your bike ride. Start immediately. If on race day your first fueling is at 20 minutes, start at 20 minutes and get used to that process. The other thing too, preceding that is get up early, do your race breakfast, and time things that way as far. If you're fortunate enough, you can even get a swim in before a bike ride. Time it all that way, so it can be a small dress rehearsal, and then consume your calories all the way through your bike ride, because you know you're going on your transition run. And then if you're doing a 40-minute transition run, if you're going to plan to take fuel every 10 or 15 minutes, or 15 or 20 minutes, whatever it is in your run on race day, do it in training. Now is the time to do it, to finalize it, because you can still find out things that work better than other things. So that's the biggest thing, is just train it. Train it these last 3 weeks if you haven't been doing it. If you've got it dialed, let it go, and just don't abuse it. You don't want to find yourself getting sick of your normal products. All right, so that's the training concept for today. I'm just going to lead a little bit into questions. I talked a little bit first, the questions we had about the swim course, and now the last thing I want to talk about is everyone's always asks about special needs. They ask about it the day before the race. They've never heard of them. They've never used them, and it's hard to advise at that point what you can use for special needs bags. So here's my advice: you get your special needs bags when you check in, and you get all your your bib numbers and all your other gear bags. So special needs, a couple of things with that is I think it's great to use them, whether it's a safety valve or whatever it is. So the process is simple. You're going to drop that. Typically, we're going to drop that, and the way we're scheduled now is to drop special needs on race morning. Come to a briefing. We'll discuss that. Drop your special needs bags race morning, whatever you think you're going to put in those. Now, let's talk where you're going to put in, what you're going to put in those, and where you will access those on the course. So my recommendation: some people keep it really simple for the bike. They start with 2 or 3 bottles on their bike of their special drink, whatever your drink is. And then they put those same bottles, so refills of those bottles, in the special needs bags. And then they get rid of their old bottles, and they put those new bottles on. So it's simple as that. Other things people will put in there is they'll put in an extra spare tube and a CO2 just in case you do get a flat. You use the stuff that's on your bike already, and now you just have a refill of your flat repair kit. Those are pretty common items. Eric, who I said was in here before, I said this is his first Ironman, and he goes, "What do you put in them?" And I talked to him about that. So if you have your own special fuels that you like and you don't want to race with a ton of crap in your pockets, that's a good way to do it. You can be in and out of special needs in 60 seconds. I think it's valuable to stop, to get what you need, to have the peace of mind to do that. And the other thing you can put in there are, I'll say, comfort type foods. Things that you know that you've had to switch to on a long ride that wasn't going well that's helped you. It could be anything from a bottle of cola to a special candy or some pretzels or some chips. Whatever you have had hankerings or cravings for on your other long workouts that have helped you get through bad patches, put it in there. Now you might pull up and you feel great. You don't need it, and that's fine. Or maybe you put it in your pocket and take it with you because you might need it at mile 80. So that would be my recommendation. Everybody has different things that they like. For me personally, I always went with a spare tube and a CO2 cartridge. I had my replacement bottles of my carbohydrate electrolyte drink, and that changed over the years of what it was and how much and everything else. And one of the things I either always carried or I threw in my special needs, and this was super personal, but you get an idea what I mean by your own personal hankerings, is a plastic bag full of Sour Patch Kids. Believe it or not, like it's not something that I eat anywhere, would eat on a daily basis or even go to a store and buy. It would be really rare. But for some reason, for me, if things were going bad and I was tired of my race fuel, I could just dig into that bag of Sour Patch Kids and just go to town. One year, Ironman Arizona 2008, so maybe it was 10 years ago now, one of my last Ironmans, is I spent the last hour on the bike eating Sour Patch Kids, and I had a really solid day and didn't have a problem with it. I could always eat them no matter what. So find that thing. And the other thing for me too is a payday bar. Different things for different people. So that would be my recommendation. You're going to get that special needs about halfway through the bike. I haven't seen the exact location of it yet. We'll talk about that at the race briefings, or I'll give you an update if I get it sooner. The reality is you're going to be pulling up to an area. It's going to be off on the right-hand side. Call out your number. The bags will be listed numerically. Pull up. They'll give you your bag. They'll bring it up to you. Exchange bottles. Take out what you need. Leave the bag on the ground, and then the volunteers will take care of it, and off you go. It's a quick process, and it works well. Again, we'll talk about it a little bit more at athlete briefings. And then for the run, really similar. With there, you're going to get a chance to access it twice. You have a three-loop run, and at the end of lap 2, so you can access that bag twice. And my recommendation always is, if you do it at lap 1 and you know you're going to want it at lap 2, ask the volunteer to put it back in its numerical place, or put it back in its numerical place yourself. And the same thing as far as what you're going to put in that bag. Some people do an extra pair of socks. If you know you're going to be out after dark, there's some dark stuff out there, so a headlamp is advisable. Any kind of anti-chafing product a lot of people will put out, and then just the same type of, maybe a little bit of comfort food type of stuff. And the bottom line is there's no magic pill that goes in that bag. It's very, very individual. So I've seen some crazy stuff come out of special needs bags that work for other people that I know never would have worked for me. But put things in there that you know that you can't get on course. You know the types of products you're going to get on course. And then remember too, with special needs bags, you're not going to get these bags back. So don't put anything valuable in there. If you do put a headlamp in for insurance, and then all of a sudden you have a good day, or just you're moving through the course and you're not going to need it, just make sure you pull it out of there before you head to the finish line, so you don't lose your headlamp. Or another scenario is you can go back, if you finish early enough, you can go back to that bag and claim your bag. As long as you have your bib number on, they'll let you take that back. So that's what I've got, guys. 4 weeks to go. Hope you're getting excited. If you're getting super tired, man, don't try to push it at this point. You're super fit right now. That one extra monster workout, if you're really tired, it's just going to make things worse. So adjust as you need to. If you're feeling good, do your workouts, don't go overboard, and then we'll peak you into the race and transition your training off. So that's it. 4 weeks ago, a lot of fun stuff to come. We'll start getting more and more excited. A few more videos for you before race day, and then we will see you at the race briefings in 3.5 weeks. All right, guys, post the questions up on the Facebook pages. that I put these two. Ping me a message, whatever it is, and then we've got a good camp coming up this weekend, and we're looking forward to meeting some new people. So good luck, guys, and have an awesome weekend. Train smart, train hard. See ya. Bye.